Hello friends, we will start with the 8th chapter, that is Socio-Religious Reform Movements and General Features. There were many factors which gave rise to reforms. The first one is religious and social ills. The Indian society in the 19th century was caught in religious superstitions. The priest exercised an overwhelming power and unhealthy influence on the minds of the people. There was monopoly, idolatry, and polytheism practiced in all religious systems. Depressing position of women. Attempts to kill female infants at birth were not unusual. Child marriage was prominent. The practice of polygamy prevailed, and in Bengal, under Kulinism, even old men took very young girls as wives. The caste problem. Another debilitating factor was the untouchables as well as the scheduled caste problem. They were facing humiliation and they were militated against human dignity. There was new awareness among enlightened Indians. Factors such as growth of nationalistic sentiments, emergence of new economic forces, spread of education, impact of modern Western ideas and culture, and increased awareness of the world strengthened the resolve to reform. There were certain social and ideological bases of reform. Reform movements had ideological unity under rationalism, religious universalism, and humanism. Akshay Kumar Dutt, he declared that the natural and social phenomena could be analyzed and understood by purely mechanical process. As a consequence, Aligarh movement emphasized reconciliation of Islamic teachings. Akshay Kumar Dutt, for instance, brought medical opinion to support his views against child marriage. Raja Ram Mohan Roy defended the basic and universal principles of all religions, such as the monotheism of the Vedas and Unitarianism of Christianity, while attacking the polytheism of Hinduism and Trinitarianism of Christianity. There were mainly two streams, the reformist movement like the Brahmo Samaj, Prarthana Samaj, Aligarh movement, and the revivalist movements like Arya Samaj and Deoband movement. Direction of social reform. In the beginning, organizations such as the Social Conference, Servants of India Society, and the Christian missionaries were instrumental in social reform along with many enlightened individuals like Jyotibai Phule, Gopal Hari Deshmukh, Sri Narayana Guru, E.V. Ramaswamy Naicker, and B.R. Ambedkar. To reach the masses, the reformers used the Indian languages to propagate their views. They used a variety of media including novels, dramas, poetry, short stories, the press, and in the 1930s and later on, the cinema to spread their opinions. Broadly, the social reform movements had a two-point agenda: fight for the betterment of status of women in society and fight to remove disabilities arising out of untouchability. Fight for betterment of position of women. Women were suppressed by practices such as purda, early marriage, ban on widow marriage, sati, etc. Hindu women did not enjoy the right to inherit property or terminate an undesirable marriage. Polygamy was prevalent among Hindus as well as Muslims. They raised their voice against degrading customs such as polygamy, parda, child marriage, restrictions on widow marriage, and worked relentlessly. Steps taken to ameliorate women's position. Abolition of sati, launched by enlightened Indian reformers, Raja Ram Mohan Roy declared the practice of sati and made it illegal. The regulation of 1829 Act was being thus formed. Preventing female infanticide. The Bengal regulations of 1795 and 1804 declared infanticide illegal and equivalent to murder. An act passed in 1870 made it compulsory for parents to register the birth of all babies and provided for verification of female children for some years after birth. Widow remarriage. The Brahmo Samaj had the issue of widow remarriage high on its agenda, but it was mainly due to the efforts of Pandit Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, the principal of Sanskrit College, Calcutta, that the Hindu Widows Remarriage Act 1856 was passed. Vidyasagar cited Vedic text to prove that the Hindu religion sanctioned widow remarriage. Controlling child marriage. The Sharda Act of 1930 further pushed up the marriage age to 18 and 14 for boys and girls respectively. In Free India, the Child Marriage Restraint Act 1978 raised the age of marriage for girls from 15 to 18 years and for boys from 18 to 21. Education for women. The Christian missionaries were the first to set up the Calcutta Female Juvenile Society in 1819. The Bintune school, founded by J.E.D. Bintune, was also critical. Pandit Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar was associated with no less than 35 girls' schools in Bengal and is considered one of the pioneers of women education. Charles Wood's dispatch on education in 1854 laid great stress on the need of female education. In 1914, the Women's Medical Service did a lot of work in training nurses and midwives. The Indian Women's University, set up by Professor D.K. Karve in 1916, was also an outstanding institution. Lady Hardinge Medical College was also opened in Delhi. Sarojini Naidu went on to become the president of the Indian National Congress in 1925. All India Women's Conference was also established in 1927. Women's organizations. In 1910, Sarla Devi Chaudharani convened the first meeting of the Bharat Stri Mahamandal in Allahabad. Its objective included promotion of education for women, abolition of the Purda system. Ramabai Ranade founded the Ladies' Social Conference, and which is also called as Bharat Mahila Parishad. Pandit Ramabai Saraswati founded the Arya Mahila Samaj to serve the cause of women. In 1925, the National Council of Women was formed. However, according to critics, the philanthropic style that was being followed by these women was that of upper-class English women. The All India Women's Conference AIWC, founded by Margaret Cousins in 1927, was also remarkable. Various legislative reforms include Sharda Act of 1929, the Hindu Women's Right to Property Act of 1937, Hindu Marriage and Divorce Act of 1954, Special Marriage Act of 1954, Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act of 1956, Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act of 1956, Dowry Prohibition Act of 1961. Struggle against caste-based exploitation. The later Vedic conception of fourfold division of Hindu society got further subdivided into subcaste, which included racial admixture, geographical expansion, and diversification. The worst hit by the discriminatory institution of caste were the untouchables or the scheduled caste or Dalits. Factors that helped to mitigate caste-based discrimination. British rule, perhaps without intention, created certain conditions that undermined caste consciousness to an extent. For instance, the creation of private property in land and free sale of land upset caste equations. The second is the social reform movements also strove to undermine caste-based exploitation. From the mid-19th century onwards, numerous organizations and groups such as the Brahmo Samaj, Prarthana Samaj, Arya Samaj, Ramakrishna Mission was formed, which worked to spread education among the untouchables. Although many of them defended the Chaduvarna system, they criticized untouchability. The national movement took inspiration from the principles of liberty and equality against the forces which tended to divide the society. The Congress governments in various provinces after 1937, for instance, provided free education for Harijans, that is, untouchables. Gandhi always had in mind the objective of eradicating untouchability by root and branch. He argued that the Shastras did not sanction untouchability. With increasing opportunities of education and general awakening, there were stirrings among the lower caste themselves. In Maharashtra, Jyotibai Phule, born in a low caste Mali family, led a movement against the Brahmanical domination of Hindu society. Sri Narayana Guru in Kerala put forward the slogan "One religion, one caste, one God for mankind," which his disciple Sahodranayappan changed into "No religion, no caste, no God for mankind." Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar led the Mahat Satyagraha in March 1927. Later, in December 1927, Ambedkar and his colleagues burned the Manusmriti at the same place as a gesture of getting rid of inequalities. Its motto was "Educate, Agitate and Organize." The Constitution of Free India has made equality and non-discrimination on basis of caste imperative. In the directive principles of state policy, the Constitution has laid down that the state shall strive to promote the welfare of the people by securing and protecting as effectively as it may a social order in which justice, social, economic, and political shall inform all the institutions of the national life. So, with this, we comes to an end of chapter 8, that is socio-religious reform movements. I hope you all guys like this video. Please do like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.